It started as a joke, a dare fueled by boredom and teenage bravado. "Come on," Blake said, grinning mischievously. "Just think of the selfies we could take in the empty mall. You scared or something?" To be fair, the abandoned parking lot was airy enough. The fluorescent lights buzzed faintly, casting harsh shadows across cracked pavement. But the thrill of sneaking into the mall after closing was irresistible. It was supposed to be an hour of harmless fun, a story they'd laugh about in years to come. They found an unlocked door near the loading dock, a small miracle, or perhaps a mistake. Inside, the silence was suffocating. The usual clamor of shoppers and kids screaming at the arcade was replaced by an oppressive stillness. The group wandered into the main atrium, the dim glow of emergency lighting making everything feel surreal. At first, it was exhilarating. They ran through the halls, taking pictures by the fountains and pretending to shoplift imaginary items from designer stores. Then they hit the food court. It was strange. Plates of fresh food sat on the tables, piping hot burgers, perfectly stacked pizza slices, steaming bowls of pasta, but no one had ordered it. No one was around to eat it. Blake waved it off, saying, "Probably just leftovers from closing," but the unease began to creep in. It wasn't long before things started to change. The group decided to split up briefly. Maya wanted to see the bookstore, while Blake and Aaron headed toward the tech store. Jake tagged along, teasing Maya about her obsession with fantasy novels. When they reached the bookstore, it was gone. The sign above the entrance no longer read Pages & Co. but Infinity Texts, and inside, the shelves were filled with books none of them recognized. Titles like The Day You Disappeared and Escape is Impossible sent chills up Maya's spine. "Guys, this is weird," she whispered, clutching Jake's arm. "These weren't here before." Meanwhile, Blake and Aaron wandered into what should have been Gadget Galaxy, but the aisles were filled with objects that made no sense: glowing spheres, mirrors that reflected other parts of the mall instead of their faces, and static screens that whispered incomprehensible words. And then there were the mannequins. They were everywhere, standing in corners, posed in windows, even lined up at the food court tables. At first, they looked normal, dressed in generic clothing, but then Blake noticed something chilling. The mannequins' heads were turning. "It's not funny, guys," Aaron said, clutching Blake's sleeve. But when he turned around, Aaron was gone, replaced by an empty corner. Blake froze, his heart hammering against his chest as the mannequins turned their blank faces toward him. The group regrouped, panicked now, racing through the labyrinthine halls that seemed to shift and morph the longer they stayed. Stores they had passed minutes ago vanished, replaced by unfamiliar ones. The escalators led to nowhere, looping endlessly, depositing them back where they started. "We need to get out," Maya gasped, clutching Jake and Aaron's arms. "We need to leave, now." But the exit was gone. The loading dock door they had entered through was a blank wall. And the mannequins they were following now, their faceless figures inching closer every time the group blinked. Jake grabbed a knife from a nearby kitchen store display, ready to defend himself, but the mannequins didn't attack. They just stood there, blocking paths, herding the group toward the center of the mall. Blake tried kicking one, but it didn't budge. Its plastic body felt unnaturally heavy, unyielding, as though rooted in the ground. In desperation, they bolted to the food court, only to find new plates of food waiting for them hot. Fresh meals was their names written on the napkins. Erin almost screamed when she saw her own handwriting on the napkin, as if she'd scrawled her name herself. "We have to keep moving," Blake insisted. "There's got to be another way out." But the mall had decided otherwise. The lights flickered, the air grew colder, and the walls seemed to close in. The mannequins moved silently, their footsteps echoing in the unnatural stillness. Hours, or was it days, later, the group was separated. Erin found herself staring into one of the glowing mirrors, her reflection looking back at her. But it wasn't quite her. It smiled when she didn't. Then it stepped out of the mirror. For Maya, the bugs seemed to whisper her name, pulling her deeper into the shifting aisles until she couldn't remember which way she'd come. Blake and Jake found themselves trapped in the center atrium, the fountain water swirling with impossible patterns, while mannequins encircled them, closer than ever. The mall didn't let them leave. It didn't need to. It had already decided to keep them. And somewhere in the distance, the food court still served meals, plates with names, waiting for someone new.